Okay, this is the first video of the Tahoe series. Like I said previously in my first video, I did rebuild this transmission. This is the 4L60E. It has been cleaned out and rebuilt completely. If you have any questions on this, let me know. I can go into detail if y'all would like, but just leave a comment and I can kind of share pictures and stuff that I taken. I did not capture any video with this, unfortunately, but I can share any tips and tricks on how to rebuild a 4L60E. Okay, we're moving on to the 2004 Tahoe engine rebuild project. Right now, you're looking at a table of destruction. There's a cart of destruction with the transmission on it in the entryway of my house. This is a transmission cooler, new transmission cooler that I had purchased when I had bought, or when I rebuilt the 4L60E. And I'll show you the old transmission cooler in the garage. This is a substantial upgrade from the factory one. There's also a place I got these mounting brackets, and also when you buy these mounting brackets, they'll give you the compression fitting for the transmission lines, and I can go into detail with that if you want some information on that. My oil pan is over here to the side. It's all clean. It's got a new gasket sitting on top of it, but it's out of the way. I don't want to show it. But anyway, it's all cleaned up. I'll show it on another video when I rebuild the engine. These are the headlight housings from the front of the car and all the bolts. I will say the best way I've found to do bolts is bags and labels with a Sharpie. That's been my friend. These are the lower headlights, turn signals, stuff like that, hazards, more bolts, and more bolts. This is one of the ignition rails. I think this is the, no, this is driver's side. Passenger side is almost impossible for me to reach this back bolt. I'll show you that in just a second. My dog wants to say hi here. He's not shy at all. This is a engine leveler I bought off of Amazon because I figured a leveler is going to be better than the valley cover plate when it comes to lifting the engine out. But I bought both. I have the valley plate installed. I'll show you in a second. But I figured this may be better. I could not find, it's very hard to find a resource to tell you what kind of bolts you need to mount this to the engine itself, basically the engine headers. Not the headers, the engine heads. But the measurements for the actual bolt hole at the front of the head is a M10 1.5 thread, 20 millimeter depth. Come on, buddy. Sorry, that was my dog. Anyway, I found this after the fact, but I did buy these little bolts for the engine stand I have to mount the engine on the engine stand. I thought these would be the same thread. These actually did say that they advertised they were the M10 1.5 thread, just a little bit longer, but I tried to put these into the front of the heads to attach this engine leveler, and it did not work. These did not fit inside. But I went, checked on AutoZone, couldn't find the bolts I needed, checked on Amazon. The Amazon has them, but I'm planning on pulling the engine tomorrow, and I need them right away. So anyway, I found them at O'Reilly's. This is the Dorman brand. It is the M10 1.5 thread, 25 millimeter, and it's the flanged hex bolts. That's what they look like. The reason I went with a little bit longer 25 is to allow for this leveler piece itself next to the flange And it won't go all the way in since it's only milled basically at a 20 millimeter depth. But anyway, so I found these at O'Reilly's. AutoZone didn't have them, but O'Reilly's for sure. I've found O'Reilly's is better, way better than AutoZone when it comes to parts. But anyway, let's go into the garage and I will show you the catastrophe that's there. Okay, here is the garage. This is the Tahoe in all its glory. We got the front bumper off. We got the wheel wells out to get access to the exhaust manifold, or the headers, I should say. Have the front axle. This is a 4x4. This is the front axle that hooks up to the CV joints. That is all parts from my transmission rebuild. The torque converter there. This is the OEM transmission cooler that I'm replacing with the True Cool, much larger transmission cooler. It's my rebuilt transfer case. If you have any questions on rebuilding a transfer case, it's basically just like a transmission, just a little bit smaller. So I did that one first before I tackled the transmission. I would say this is easier just because it's less parts and pieces, but they each had their difficulties. So again, if you have any questions, let me know. So let's take a look. Also, if you're doing this in a home garage, let me tell you something. These little kiddie pools, this is like $5 at Walmart, and these little kiddie pools will catch all the power steering fluid, the coolant, the oil, anything that spills out. This is fantastic for an engine rebuild, just FYI, instead of letting it slop along the ground. So here we go. This is the engine as it stands now. I did take the front bumper off to allow more room for the cherry picker. I opted not to take the condenser out because of the AC lines, the hard AC lines that are attached to it. You can see here that this is a hard line. It does not have any type of flex into it whatsoever. So it's not going anywhere. And I'm not about to take out the AC lines and all that stuff and discharge and recharge the system. So anyway, as you can see, the water pump has been removed. The compressor water pump mounts right here. The compressor here is loose off of its bracket. This is the plate that I did go with. I found it on Amazon. This is just a lifting plate. You take the valley cover off and then you bolt on this lifting plate, and it's got places for the cherry picker to pick up on. But I will attach the leveler to here as well so that I can have two options when I do decide to pick the engine out. But my mounting points are going to be right here, here, and the back side of the heads. As you can see, I did remove the fuel line, or not the fuel line, the ignition packs from the driver's side. The passenger side, there's a bolt way back here that actually is pressing into the firewall. I think it's because the way the engine is sitting right now, the transmission's out, so it's not, the back end is basically pushed downward. Usually it'll be up a little bit more versus it's now kind of pushing down since the transmission's not there and the transmission mount is not kind of pushing it upright. Moved the power steering bracket and the pump along with the alternator. I don't know if I'm going to replace the power steering pump, rebuild it. Same thing with the oil pump. When I take the front cover off here, you can just see how gross this is. I mean, look at this. This is insane how disgusting this is. And I had to scrape off. You can see I scraped off a whole bunch before I got to this valley cover, but it had a lot of debris, a lot of just crap all on here. Can't really see it too well. Let me get a better light, actually. You may be able to see it with a better light. Let's see. This thing, guys, this thing, in case of an emergency, this has USB charging. This is fantastic in case of an emergency, but it's a little too bright for this circumstance. It's got 2 modes. You can do it sideways or the spotlight. Anyway, so you can see here, it's just disgusting. It needs a seal job bad. It's kind of leaking out of every orifice that there is a seal. So that's what we'll be doing next. Trying to think of difficulties and stuff that I ran into. Moving the bumper was kind of tricky. These points on my bumper are angled up and to the left right here. I don't know if that's the way it's supposed to be, but it basically caused a pinch point when I was trying to remove the bumper from this flat surface here, and this angle was up. It was basically causing a pinch point when I was pulling off. Anyway, I got it off. You just have to yank at it. On the side here, you can see my cherry picker, engine stand there, and of course all the parts that came with it, or that not that came with it, that I've taken off. So next step is to attach the leveler. And again, like I said, the points I'm going to be attaching are these front lower spots in the head. One here and one right here. And I'm going to be using the M10 1.5 thread 25mm Dorman flange bolts from O'Reilly's. More to come. I'm planning on picking this out tomorrow. So I'll be recording and posting a video of that after it takes place. Cheers.